I've long been puzzled by CNN's Brian Stelter, the host of a show somewhat ironically called Reliable Sources. Reliable Sources. Now, when I first encountered Stelter with his, Pillsbury doughboy look, his Mike Tyson voice, I had a little difficulty believing that this was a real person. And then once I listened to Stelter, his, circuitous, incoherent rants, initially I thought, this guy's got to be on drugs. Puff the Magic Dragon. But then I waited for the stupor to pass, for Stelter to kind of return to normal, but he never did. So I was forced to come up with a kind of new theory on Stelter, and here is my current one. Stelter is the classic propagandist for the 21st century. Listen.
It's as predictable as the sunrise. Democrats win elections, and then Republicans say they are being silenced. But while some cry cancel culture, let me suggest a different way to think about this. A harm reduction model. Most people want clean air and blue skies, and accurate news and rational views. And then in that healthy environment that looks beautiful, then we can have great fights about taxes and regulation and healthcare and all the rest. The vast majority of people can agree that disinformation about, let's say, the pandemic is unhealthy. It's harmful. So how can that harm be reduced? Well, big tech platforms say they are removing lies about vaccines and stamping out Stop the Steal BS and QAnon cult content. Now, do these private companies have too much power? Sure. And many people would say yes, of course they do. But reducing a liar's reach is not the same as censoring freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is different than freedom of reach.
Now, the first thing to realize is that this is very modern, quite different from the old style of propaganda, 20th century propaganda. The old stuff doesn't work today. So imagine a socialist dictator auditioning today for a propagandist. Bring in Goebbels! So Goebbels comes in. Ein Volk, ein Reich, ein Biden! Nah, it doesn't really work. It's too shrill. It scares people. Okay, the dictator says, let's try this new guy. What's his name? Stelter. Okay, Stelter. So Stelter comes in. Hello. That's the thing about Stelter. He's unthreatening. His voice alone suggests emasculation. He reminds me of the eunuchs that were used in the Persian and Mughal courts. The emperors loved the eunuchs because they were vicious, but they dressed and talked like women. Hello. That's Stelter. Plus, he packages tyranny in euphemistic terms. He makes it sound very soft, almost appealing. We're not taking away your freedom of speech, just your freedom of reach. We're not against debate. We just think debates are very divisive. We're totally in favor of debates on issues on which there's total unanimity. But there is a dangerous element here. From history, we know where this kind of language can go. We're not taking away your head, just separating it from the rest of your body. Stelter might look harmless, but his propaganda is not harmless. What should we do with this guy? I recommend that CNN limit his reach, which is, of course, completely distinguishable from taking away his freedom of speech.